Overseas in the UK's Met Police have launched a criminal investigation into allegations Lord Peter Mandelson passed sensitive information to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He's officially resigned now from the House of Lords after a series of new documents were uncovered in the latest trove of Epstein files. Tom Cheshire reports.
Day 5 of the latest release of the Epstein files, and we continue to find new things. Here are the three most important topics: Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, Peter Mandelson and Vladimir Putin. Just appearing in the files isn't any suggestion of wrongdoing. But we're learning much more about the nature of the relationships that Jeffrey Epstein had. He was very close to Peter Mandelson. Peter Mandelson has said that he didn't know the extent of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes until after his death. They did have a very close relationship. Here, Epstein emails Mandelson to say, "You are the only person who knows everything about me. Don't go away." In this email, Peter Mandelson, he is talking about the latest political situation, saying to Jeffrey Epstein in 2010, "We are praying for a hung parliament." And then he jokes, "Alternatively, a well-hung young man." And this is another email from Mandelson to Epstein at the height of a political moment, a political crisis. He emails him saying, "Finally got him to go today. We can't say for sure, but the next day, the then Prime Minister Gordon Brown resigned." At the same time as his relationship with Mandelson, Epstein was also close to Sarah Ferguson, the former wife of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. This email he sent references both Ferguson and Mandelson, both Buckingham Palace and Number 10, the very fulcrum of the British state. This is a confirmation email saying that Epstein is arranging travel for Sarah Ferguson and the girls. We know the girls refers to Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, aged 20 and 19 at the time. Now, the really important thing here is the date, July the 23rd, 2009. This is just one day after Epstein had been released from prison for soliciting prostitution from a minor. He was placed on the sex offenders list, and yet they are arranging to meet. Do they meet? Well, this is what we have from the other emails. This is from Jeffrey Epstein suggesting vegetable lasagna or anything else you would like. Sarah Ferguson replying, "Always on a diet, cannot wait to see you." Epstein's network was truly international, as well as the UK. He had an interest in Russia. And we found a recording in these files in which Epstein advises a guest at dinner how to approach Vladimir Putin.
I would send a note to Putin, saying, "I'm going to leave government in March 14th. I'm going to be in Scandinavia, or I plan to be in Northern Europe. We should have dinner." Yeah. That's it. No more. It has to be very short.
And Putin is a long-standing interest for Epstein. This is one email to a friend where he mentions Putin and says he is desperate to engage Western investment in his country. He has tried to convince many of my friends to invest. I have his solution. This email is from 2013, but this continues through the years, along with other important events. In this email from an associate of Epstein's, and again, just appearing in these files isn't a suggestion of wrongdoing.
All right, let's continue that conversation now with the editor-at-large from the Sun newspaper in the United States. It's Harry Cole. Harry, it's good to see you again this morning. So,
good morning.
Peter Mandelson, how hot is the water that he is in right now?
Well, I think losing his membership of the Labour Party is going to be the least of his worries. He's resigned his seat in the House of Lords. He'll keep the title Lord, which can be very useful at times in business dealings, as these emails show, for now, because you'd have to change the law to strip him of that title. But tonight, the police, well, this morning for you guys, the police have opened an investigation. Criminal investigation is a misconduct in public office. And the problem is, there's one hell of a paper trail, given that he was literally just forwarding, it appears, sensitive, market-sensitive, top-secret, essentially, government memos and information directly into the hands of his friend and the late financier, Jeffrey Epstein.
So he was Britain's man in Washington, if you like. How much trouble is Keir Starmer in now?
Well, that's this all comes now down to the judgment of the Prime Minister in Britain. No one ever thought Peter Mandelson was a saint. In fact, when he was appointed last year to be the ambassador, the point was they needed someone different. They needed someone vaguely controversial, they thought, to get up close to the Trump administration. Now, Peter Mandelson's resigned countless times from various jobs. He left government twice. He sort of has Lazarus-like resurrections along the way. But people know that he had dodgy dealings, and people know that he had a very long-standing, close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And a simple question would have been, and should have been asked at the time, of, well, when did you stop speaking to him? Because he gave an interview to me shortly before he was fired, when he admitted finally that he had been friends with Epstein for far too long, and he apologised for the first time, really, in any meaningful way. It wasn't enough to save him, but the idea that Keir Starmer and the Downing Street administration and the Foreign Office and, frankly, the intelligence services in the United Kingdom didn't know what Epstein was up to and didn't know that Peter Mandelson was incredibly close to him when they chose to appoint him, it looks like a very, very foolish position now. And Gordon Brown, the former Prime Minister, a man that's hated Peter Mandelson for coming on 32 years now, looks like he's out for revenge, and it looks like he could bring the whole thing crashing down around them.
So when he apologised to you, Harry, do you think he meant it, or is it one of those apologies because he was caught?
He was a fighter. You know, his famous expression is, "I'm a fighter, not a quitter," and he was in fighter mode then. I think he genuinely probably does feel, you know, badly betrayed by Epstein. Fine, but park all that. You should have been asking the questions. I think he genuinely is, you know, a fallen guy now. But I think he'll be kicking himself for many years to come, and possibly kicking himself in a jail cell.
Yeah, sure. So when you say, you know, the whole thing could come down, I mean, how bad could it get?
Well, look, I mean, Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, was essentially brought down whether he did or did not see a piece of birthday cake during COVID. You know, tipping off, you know, having a government minister tipping off, and regardless of whether Epstein was a paedophile or not. He was a financier and a hedge fund guy who had an edge, and that edge was the fact that he had an inside guy in the last Labour government who was sending him critical information. Governments have fallen for far, far less. And it wasn't just that he was, you know, that happened. He was brought back without the proper due process and proper due diligence. And, you know, Keir Starmer's already historically unpopular guy. You know, he's the most unpopular leader in Britain since polling. The actual polling firms even began polling. So, I mean, he's a historically weak Prime Minister at the moment, and this is the last thing he needs. He's got crucial elections coming up across Britain in May, the sort of British midterms, you could call them. No one thinks that they're going to go well. I do wonder whether he's going to get through the summer without someone saying, come on, guys, what are we doing here with this guy?
Yeah, that's Harry Cole, the Sun's editor-at-large in DC. Good to talk to you again, Harry.